Hey y'all, let's do a reading. There have been a couple of readings that I did not post, and one of those readings had something to do. It was a reading on many things, and one of those things was the reason I did not post it. But one of the things I want to continue to draw on is this third energy that some of you, it could just be a couple of you, but that some of you have hanging on, maybe taking advantage of your generosity. Someone just really taking advantage, whether it's of your time and you're not feeling like you're getting a return on it, or taking advantage of you financially, or anyway, I want to pull on that energy that I discovered in that reading a couple of days ago that I did. And so I already shuffled. We have the Fool as the bottom card. So we'll see what's up. I did want to use the Crows, but I want to clarify with a new deck that I got. So we've got the King of Wands. Okay, so right off the bat, with the King of Wands and the Knight of Pentacles, I think the energy that you're giving off is that you have this abundance that makes people attracted to taking from you, whether it's your time, your love, your money, your resources. It really feels, that dog is really jumping out on to me. It's really jumping out off the card to me. I don't know why. But yeah, it seems like you have it all, and so surely you have enough to give someone else, right? Yeah, I'm also seeing that maybe you have been hermiting a little bit from maybe friends, family, other relations, maybe life in general, hermiting. And I think part of you thinks that you have this figured out, but there is still something causing you some grief, and it's just about done. As the Nine of Wands escalates to the Ten of Wands, it's almost like you're at your limit. And that energy was present when I read a couple of days ago. Like, this person, whoever it is, who's taking advantage of your kindness, your generosity, your familiarity, your money, whoever it is taking advantage of you, you're getting fed up with it. And so, yes, this is very much the reading that I wanted to pull. So it's interesting because I think maybe the reason that I wanted to pull on this is because you have a potential here to get a little out of control with emotions in order to end this, in order to cut it off, or to place boundaries for people who might be overstepping. I think your tendency, and maybe the path that you're on, might lead to a little too much emotionality. And that's why I'm pulling on it, because I don't think that over emotional state of mind will help you in the end. Because often what happens when we make decisions like that, where, I mean, like intellectually, spiritually, emotionally, we know that it's time to turn that page and create a boundary and tell someone no. But when we get too wrapped up in the emotional aspect of it because we're afraid of their response, it's at that time that it hardwires to our memory as this emotional chaos. That in turn allows us to go back, when we go back in retrospect, and we wonder if we made the wrong decision all along. But if we would stay clear-headed, level-headed, having an open heart and considering them with as much compassion as we can, and trying not to get too emotional about it, then we can create those boundaries and tell those folks that we love them and or that we don't, and that it's time to stop, right? So whether you want to create restrictions in your generosity, whether you want to cut them off completely for a while, I think that's very much in this energy right now, is complete cutoff. But be very careful, because it is in the energy. Just be careful that you're not burning any bridges that can't be rebuilt. So I would say err on the side of just establishing a healthy boundary, just a limit, maybe. A limit. This is a good time for limits. And if you already think about that, and you're able to communicate it, don't be afraid of communicating it. I think it's in that fear that we get into these wands, that we get into the 9 and 10 of wands. Although it is the end of something, it also can be very escalated and emotional, chaotic. So, yeah. So don't be afraid of it. Don't be afraid of it. What's the worst that could happen? Go ahead and think about, catastrophize it. Think about what's the worst that could possibly happen. Is it really that bad? What's the best that could happen? Pepita likes the best that could happen. And yeah, it's usually not as bad as we think, especially in this energy right now, because I think people are also a little bit more self-aware, and they're evaluating their actions as well. And maybe somebody realized that they're taking advantage of you, actually. So, I'm so sorry. The dogs were being so quiet just a moment ago, and I thought, well, I'll just pull this little reading. Oh, well, as soon as I turn on the camera, they get excited. And they decided it's time to talk. We're not going to talk, Pepita. All right. So I actually kind of want to pull on the Hermit, because why have you been hermiting yourself away? This is a absolute beautiful, gorgeous, gorgeous deck. I love it so much. And I've only used it a couple of times since I got it. So she's a little harder to pull from. But I'm going to pull from the Hermit. And we're almost, yeah, it feels different than the other decks. All right, so Tower is the bottom card. And I really just want to pull the top card, so the 3 of Pentacles. Well, 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 if you've been, working on making more money, or working on a plan, or studying, or putting together a new business or something like that, that would make sense. If this Hermitage is just really for this pentacle building, then that makes sense. I think that, the energies around you might be acceptable with that, because they're going to take advantage of that, right? So the dogs really need to shut up, otherwise I can't cut a short from this, and I can't put dog barks on shorts. It's just unacceptable. So it's also like 100 degrees in this house. Let's do, I really want to do the little animal deck to see if we can clarify a little bit more. I want to clarify the King of Wands. So I had to pause it for just a minute to take care of the dog. But I did shuffle on the King of Wands. The bottom card is the 2 of Cups. We're just going to pull one card. Interesting, the Queen of Wands. So, fueled by the Ace of Wands. Okay, so that is not really a divine couple. And that gives me pause. It's almost like the relationship... It's almost like this is the relationship. This King of Wands and Queen of Wands, even though they're the same suit, not all of the suit royalties, not all the royals in the suits are divine counterparts, are matches. So like a King of Swords and a Queen of Swords isn't always great together. And a Queen of Swords and a King of Swords isn't so great together either. They have different aspects of that suit. So I wonder kind of if this is the dynamic that we're dealing with. So I want to clarify. This is going to be a little off the wall, a little different from my other readings because I want to clarify sort of obscurely. So let's clarify on this relationship of the King of Wands and the Queen of Wands. What is going on here? I think definitely your energy, the energy that I read on, is the energy with the resources, whether you know it or not, whether you feel comfortable with that or not. You're the one with the potential. You're the one with the resources, the even maybe the emotional maturity. So you could really you could really be taken advantage of from many different people. So your emotional maturity, your money, your time, your intelligence. I'm not getting intelligence as much as I am. There's a little bit of strength. There's a little bit of, oh, you know what it is? Especially is masculinity. I think someone is sucking the masculinity dry from you. Is that right? And I mean, I do not mean that in a dirty way. Get your heads out of the gutter. I do not mean that in a dirty way. But I mean like this divine masculinity that you intrinsically have. I think maybe this person is subliminally draining it from you. That doesn't make any sense. But when you're around this person or when they take from you, you end up feeling like less of a man. If that happens, this reading is definitely for you. All right, so we have the bottom card is the Page of Swords for this dynamic duo here. Nine of Pentacles. Oh boy. The Six of Wands, the Queen of Swords. Oh my gosh. So I don't know if this is I'm not sure this is a love relationship, like a partnership, or if this isn't a family relationship or a friendship. But whatever it is, it's coming through as this Page of Cups specifically in this deck is false to me. That little fish, that little sardine he's got in that cup. Every time I pull this card from the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, I see, readers see different things. That, our experiences come through in readings, and I used to tell everyone at the beginning and sometimes the end of the readings that no tarot reading is without a heavy influence and bias from a reader, because we can't explain things that we don't know, right? So we try to do the best that we can. This deck in particular with the Page of Cups usually to me means a false love, or a mostly when they're performing, so a performative love, if that makes sense. And it could be on your side or on their side, but it's a performative act of love in order to get this movement towards it. And then the Queen of Swords. So very much whoever this connection is with this other incoming energy, they are calling the shots in your life. This is a Queen of Swords who sits and dictates 100%. So they're dictating what you do. And for some reason, they're having a hell of a good time about it. Don't like that. I don't like that. It seems like your resources are at their disposal, if that makes sense. I'm not in love with this person right now, this outside energy. If any of this is resonating, let's just see on this 10 of Wands. I want to see what the outcome is. So what's going to follow the 10 of Wands as you are fed up with this and you're ready to create those boundaries and move on in a very level-headed and conscious and compassionate way. Okay, let's see where that goes. It seems like in this depiction of the Ten of Wands, you kind of have everything wrapped up, right? You've got everything wrapped up and you're ready to take it and dump it in the river. Don't dump them in the river. I'm just saying, like, dump this issue in the river. Let's see how it works out. Let's be a little predictive, maybe, if we can. It's kind of a timeless reading, so maybe some folks, some of you, some of this energy that I sit with have already dealt with this and you've already created those boundaries. And some of you haven't yet. And some of you will in a few months or throughout the next year. Okay, so I've got the bottom card as the King of Pentacles. Okay, you're definitely feeling it. You recognize your pentacles are your pinnacles. You're recognizing that the hard work that you did to earn what you have is yours to decide with what you want. Yeah. Okay. So this is good, actually, right? The Death card means transformation, a little ego death. And be aware that sometimes when we cut ties with people that have had that sort of parasitic relationship to us, there can be a little bit of that ego death because we're starting over. Remember that the underlying card that we had with the crows was the Fool, right? And you have to have death to start over and be that Fool again. And Fool is just someone who's ready to learn a different way, right? I wanted to pull another card from the shuffle. We have the Knight of Wands. Okay, so I'm seeing that definitely this is the new relationship. Let's see what's that fueled by. Yeah, it feels like this is a new relationship. Like there's a little bit of a distance that you've created between yourself and this person. And this could be past, present, or future. Whenever this happens for you, I feel like you've created that distance and now this is you showing up as the Knight of Wands. So very exciting because you have a lot of potential to move from this relationship where it maybe was a parasitic relationship. I see it here. How it feels to me is a very close relationship. So you have to redefine it versus cut it off. And I get that. And I think that's what I'm seeing you do here. Let's pull a fun oracle card from the Crow's deck to see, maybe tell me who this is. I'm very curious about who this is for y'all. It's going to be somebody different for everyone, but I am getting strong relationship. Maybe not in past lifetimes, but it's, let's just pull and see. Let's see. And in the meantime, I like this. I like what you're doing. Whatever it is you're doing, keep it up. I mean, that's the student. That's the person starting their own business. Don't use this as an escape. Like, you can do a lot in the Three of Pentacles without becoming a hermit. You can kind of have it all. So I do like to pull or show you the bottom card, influence. So be very aware of your coping mechanisms when all this is happening. I think this is a very, very good message anyway. So when all this is happening, I'm going to put these up here. When you're going through the 9 and the 10 of Wands, and you have a potential to have a chaotic and maybe very emotional distancing with someone who you're redefining your boundaries with, and you have an opportunity and the energy to maybe choose the wrong coping mechanisms as you deal with that emotional fallout from this redefining of your boundaries. So because it won't be easy for them, but we're going to try to make it easier for you, right? We're going to try to be more clear-headed and more thoughtful and compassionate to them, no matter if they become emotional, because we don't want to respond with that emotionality with a high level of emotional response from us, because then when we look back in the future, when we look back on that decision, it will be clouded by the emotions and we'll second guess our actions and our choices, right? So we don't want to do that. We want to make choices being level-headed. We want to create boundaries, being distance from that emotionality. Okay, so that being said, if you do find yourself a little bit emotional, be very, very careful about what influences are around you. The potential in this energy to fall back on vices is definitely there. So be wary of that and be ready to say no to that type of thing versus consider it at all. So let that be the universe's warning to you of just absolutely make the decision now that you won't succumb to that type of influence. And then the top card is distraction. And I think this is another warning from the universe as well. In times like this, when there's an energy present that we are having difficulty separating ourselves from, when they have sort of taken over our life and they are suddenly dictating, sometimes it's easier to let them do it than to create the boundaries. And in order to do that and not go crazy, we distract ourselves. So this is the universe also warning you against distraction. You don't want to let this relationship take all of your puppy food while you're being distracted by work, by school, by another relationship, by the news, by anything else, right? Pay attention. This is very appropriate for what we've been talking about pentacles and wealth and time and so don't let them steal all your puppy food. So great reading. I hope it helped someone. Remember that the readings that we do as tarot card readers are for entertainment only, but definitely my intent is to help as many people in this masculine energy that I possibly can by identifying some different ways of looking at things. So that's what this is. And remember that all tarot readings come from a place of bias of the reader, and only what we have experienced can we talk about, really. So that being said, I hope it helped. And good luck out there, you guys. Stay cool, stay calm, go with the flow, and have a level head about it. But you can absolutely do it. Absolutely, you can create these boundaries and recognize that your pinnacles are yours. Okay. All right.